Could you elaborate on that? If you're referring to the decorative blocks that use the Nation Tech item, oh yes, the logos. So that is a mod that we don't upkeep and the creator has not fixed. We're looking into possibly slotting in alternatives for that, though, if we cannot get that fixed in a quick time frame. Yes, that's the Diamondcraft mod. Will there be more syncs, possibly some that use Nation Tech commodities? I'm assuming you mean sync as gameplay loop to spin that on. That is a possibility. There's none planned right now, but it is something we can look into. Will there be more syncs that our character can use to wash their hands? I wasn't aware Foxy washed his hands.
I see you guys have fun with memeing, but come on, send some messages. Some
Is there a master plan that can be shared with the public? No, not at this time. The only thing, like I said earlier, we're working on a long-term project that will be integrating a lot more systems into the Expanse experience. Will food mod be added? Comical. That goes under previous statement, but we are looking at how we can make that a possibility. Are there plans for more admin run events? Yes, actually, we have 2 planned. And sorry, I missed the food mod question. We tentatively are adding a form of food with the econ update. I'd also like to remind y'all that there are some small Easter eggs about the econ update in the game right now as well. We don't have any plans for direct Koth events coming, no. Might there be a way to display roughly the numbers in each nation? Yeah, we can do an announcement with that here right after this. Full implementation of nation bases, we're just working out some kinks with the store rental plugin. After that gets, we'll throw that in and you'll be able to rent stores in a similar manner to Tycho and have them on the nation stations. Scary, as far as things I can talk about with the econ update, right now I'm just going to talk about concrete stuff that we will be adding new trade routes to Palace, Ganymede, and Vesta to make them more long-term locations that players go to more than just at the beginning of the game and at all in the case of Ganymede. Does the renter right now it will be LCDs only? We do want to look into offering an amount of customization, but I do believe that's outside the scope of what we can do at the moment. Be retro applied to the previous stations. It will not be applied to the current nation HQs. It will likely be applied to Tycho. We will free Tex from his shackles of running that auction. What about the yes, that's the ones I'm talking about with the store rental plugin, Tex, the ones on the planet. How many stores? I believe it is 6. And thank you, Lilith, for the numbers. When will the Church of the Holy Spud on Ganymede? I was going to crowdsource that one.
Hey, did I miss something? What holy spot?
All right. I am going to start moving us towards talking about some suggestion threads because I do want to talk about those as well. Feel free to keep asking questions. I will continue answering them. All right. So we're just going to go down the list. The electronic warfare system, it is an interesting system, but for at least the moment, that's not really something we can implement with the way Weapon Core works in our current systems. Weapon Core E-War is basically EMP, targeted EMPs, and attacking projectiles. You don't really have the ability to do a full E-War system within it. Torpedo Jammer is something we're thinking about. There is a idea for an implementation of that alongside one of the other weapon or I guess ammo type additions with the coming balance patch if needed to balance it out. Are there any short-term content goals? The main content goal I've been working with right now is getting a more balanced PvP environment. A lot of players aren't happy with the balance, and we've been trying to fix that with a lot of public discussions, a focus group discussion, and stuff like that. It actually leads me into something else I would like to announce here, that for the testing of the next set of balance changes, we are going to be putting them on Caddis, but we are also going to be running an admin event in which people will sign up and be placed on random teams with a mix of admins and non-admins in order to do battles on our event server. So essentially you would sign up, you'd be placed on a random team. Let's say if me, Archer, Gergo, Pinecone signed up for a team, it would mix up between those. We are probably going to do multiple different battle formats, possibly some free-for-all of any ship type, and then also have some, hey, bring this ship type per each. Players will be given ships, and the winning teams of these battles will be rewarded with scan data. That will be one way we will be testing some of the new balance changes. In which case, I'm going to talk. If no one has any other questions, I'm going to start talking about the balance changes. So the main thing is we're going to be hard limiting torps. Right now, the limits we're looking at are 16 total launchers, 8 per type, with possibly a lower limit on Artemis to account for the Artemis getting a special type of torpedo that is specifically designed to be able to chase out to 16 kilometers on a fleeing ship. This is to help with a lot of players' frustration of certain ship types being able to run away indefinitely. A balancing measure we have also considered for this is that we are thinking about adding, and can add if needed, a countermeasure block that eats up torpedo limit. As well as that, we're going to be adding cutoffs and special firing modes to the heavy rails, at least. I would like to add 8 Zeus, 8 Ares. Yes, you could, in theory, with the new rules. We'll also be slowing down the Ares fire rate to make Alpha Strike with them harder. I'm going to throw up a stream now. So, for the new firing modes on the heavy rails, as well as the new torpedo type. Firstly, the foe hammer will be retaining the large damage single shot mode. Well, where did I put my ships? Right here. As you can see here, it's large single projectile, pierces through the ship. I'd like it to target a reactor so you can see the cutoff in action, but you can also kind of see it here. Essentially what the cutoff means is that the rail projectile will no longer dump its full damage onto a singular block. Instead, it will do a set amount of damage per block and pass through blocks until it runs out of total damage. This system can be applied in such a way that a couple blocks, like let's say it hits 3 reactors, would eat up the full amount of damage, or we can apply it in such a way that you deal maybe 100,000 damage per block, but the rail shot will go through a ship indefinitely, or anything in between that. That's up to balancing, as well as I know there were concerns. What is the current cutoff config? Current cutoff config on server doesn't exist other than Adro, and I'm not certain about that on the top of my head. On these railguns, the foe hammer, if you give me one moment, has a cutoff of 150,000 damage per block with the 720,000 damage total, as it does now. We're unsure what they will be in changes. We're going to have to test that out, as well as resistances are going to have to be reworked. So what will likely happen is we'll reduce the resistances on everything to about 100% or less, and reduce rail damage accordingly. So what you might see is the railgun only does 5,000 damage per block, but armor has 100% resistance, and let's say a reactor or battery would have maybe 20% resistance. That way it takes more damage from the shot. This would be if we are applying them to all rails, which I know There was some controversy about that change, but I still would like to test it in some format on Caddis and in this upcoming event. How will this affect the normal rails? Normal railguns it will still be the same comparison between the heavy rails and the normal rails, where the normal rails will not have the AoE that the heavy rails do and do less damage overall. But ideally, this would affect rail combat in that it would be quicker to power kill ships, but take longer to paint off external components like drives and weapons. Torp changes seem like a massive nerf to aggro hunting grids. As far as I'm aware, not many Torp grids have been used in aggro hunting, so if you could elaborate on that. Torp hunting. So, it will hurt the Torp hunting in aggro. We can also adjust the balance of aggro accordingly if needed, if it becomes too difficult. Yeah, so that can be adjusted with just the number of NPCs as well as how difficult they are to kill. Also, overall, we would be looking to buff time to kill on railguns with this change, especially against NPCs, which have less internal components like reactors than player grids do generally. Also, I'd like to keep in mind that with the cutoff changes, this would not affect NPC railguns, so hunting in that way, as far as commie tanking goes, would be unaffected. Yes, this is something we can account for as far as the difficulty. We can also reduce the number of decoy blocks. I personally added a lot of those, for the record.
I still remember when I asked you to add them to it.
Yeah. So that's some things we can account for with the difficulty of aggro. We can tone that down if it makes it more difficult not having the number of torps, but we think the PvP benefits outweigh that risk generally. Overall, I do think so, which it would be damage cutoffs on all rails in this circumstance if we're rebalancing resistances. If not, we would probably implement the cutoffs in a similar way to aggro. But I do think so because it would allow railguns to behave more how you would expect railguns to behave based on the lore, where you're poking internal components, but you're not really destroying as much hull or other stuff like that. It would also allow us much better tuning on how railguns perform in combat, because they are underperforming in a lot of ways, in my opinion, right now, but it's hard to buff them without making stuff like rail and drive painting too powerful. And while y'all are typing, I'm going to show you the Farron. So let me pick a new target here. So the Farron will be getting a 2-round burst mode, or 2-round burst firing. This won't be a mode as the firing is attached to the weapon, not the projectile, but it will have a similar damage per minute to the foe hammer and will fire twice, as you see here. It will retain its AoE the same way. Again, lower damage per shot. Generally, it'll be the concept of slightly more spread out ships. The double shots, they're targeting the same grid, but they can target different blocks. If the DPM is the same, it spreads the damage differently. So whereas the foe hammer will be more accurate, hit a very specific block, the Farron will be hitting 2 blocks with half as much damage essentially. And finally, let me target a new grid. The Behemoth will be given a grape shot firing mode. It's a slightly overtuned for this demo. It will likely be much weaker than that on the server, but generally speaking, yes. We can tone down the number of projectiles. Right now it is 24. Foe hammer works very similarly to how it does now. It's essentially its current state with a damage cutoff added. No, the foe hammer still retains its 3x3 AoE. The only one that has lost its AoE is the Behemoth, as it gets its AoE from being a sheer number of projectiles. And yes, tag, the Farron is going to be a smaller double hit. In light of changing the heavy rails so drastically, though, we are going to be adding in a store where you can switch between different heavy rail techs. So that if you got the Farron expecting, the Farron's behavior as it was previously, you're not screwed over by these changes. And let me Also, to note, the Behemoth will also maintain a single slug that is similar to but less efficient than the Foe Hammer, as to maintain its functionality as a more standard railgun. Yes, PDCs, I don't have them on this demo branch as it's mostly just numerical chamber changes. Yeah, no, the Behemoth is going to be tuned down quite a lot. It's likely going to have its damage cutoff turned down a lot, where it's not dealing very much damage to each block, but it's dealing damage to a lot of blocks. So, yeah. Yes, Tex, thank you for the summary. But, so PDC adjustments, we're likely going to be experimenting with increasing the accuracy and velocity on PDCs. I don't believe accuracy really changes much at the point we're at, but the projectile velocity will, as well as playing around with targeting times to see if it makes them more consistent. And in exchange for the better performance, they will likely generate more heat. Currently the Behemoth is doing... So each projectile on the Behemoth rail is... If you let me pull it up. Each projectile has a total of 24,000 damage with the ability to deal 10,000 damage per block. Yes, currently they both get 3x3. If that's overpowered, yeah. The Farron damage numbers right now are tuned to be 50% of the Foe Hammer. AoE damage been accounted for, so it doesn't seem like it hits the same damage in its AoE area frequently enough. And as to why we're doing these changes, we're basically playing around with the idea of, and trying the idea of giving weapons a more distinct niche compared to each other versus just minor stat differences. As well as this aligns more closely with lore things. Oh, is it doing... What's the damage on a Dawson? A Dawson is, I think, 340? 380? Might be 400 something. Docking camera mod, that is something we are looking at. I can talk about it briefly. Honestly, haven't looked too deeply as I was preparing a lot of this stuff, but that is something we are doing. Any ideas for rail range? We are going to be keeping rail range at 10 kilometers overall. So, no, the Farron will not be able to do single shot, as the fire mode with, what's it called? With that is tied to the weapon, not the projectile. Yeah, we're going to have a trade station box. Thank you, Tag. Yes, the Behemoth will have different firing modes. It will have a less efficient version. It seems weak on paper, but I mean, this was 4 or 5 shots to a ship. So, in practice, it's not as much as you've seen. As far as manual fire,
Fish, can you by this way see when someone raises their hand? Or are you not able to see that right now?
I can see. One moment. Vark, did you want to come up here to speak? Okay, he is up here.
Yeah. I just wanted to make clarify my earlier question. So on the Farron, the proposal is to give it a dual shot, like a 2-round burst mode. Currently, if the way the AoE application works is if it hits a 3x3 block or larger, all 7 applications of the AoE will hit that block. My question was, I guess, for the Farron, since it's now going to have 2 shots, that means that if they both hit the same 3x3 block, that you will now get 2 applications of that 126,000 damage to that same block. So I guess I was just curious if that was going to be compensated for in some way.
We will test it out to see if it would be compensated for, but at the same time, we'd also have to make sure, yes, it is a cross pattern. We would also have to make sure that we're not over nerfing it. And
sure.
I mean, DPS wise, Mello's 2 Dawsons already do more damage than a Farron. This just makes that damage actually hit in 2 spots. It's the difference you're getting is the AoE essentially on the heavy rails here.
Yeah.
All right. Is that all, Vark?
Yep. Thanks.
I will send you back down. Thank you. Okay. Chatuka, I will bring you up.
Yep. I have a question about for hammer.
Yes.
Yeah, because like the damage is the same, I mean, the DPM is the same. It's just like the damage in one shot is big, right? But then
Yes.
the forehammer gets kind of pointless because, like, if you want to shoot the internals, you can just do it with Farron more effectively because you target 2 blocks. And if you wanna shoot drives, the said Farron does it the same with the same efficiency, basically, because the DPM is the same. And then, like,
So
the question is, what's the point?
I feel like I spoke poorly with DPM being the same. The DPM being the same meant and more that it's going to be comparable. Technically, we can also increase the foe hammers to be the best to make up for this, to be slightly more. As well, the accuracy will be a buff, and we can also increase its damage per block limit to be much higher. So that while you may be doing the same total damage, you're dumping more of that damage into what you're targeting.
That's actually a really good idea. And to clarify, so right now on the testing, all rails still have the plus shaped AoE, right?
All rails
Not-
other than the behemoth. The behemoth
Oh,
does
yeah.
not have plus shaped on its fragments.
Right, so not 3x3s. Okay. Because
Yes.
like I remember in the chat, it was considered to give Forehammer a 3x3 and not the cross. So yeah,
Yes.
that's
So
also
right now
something
it's
that
still
could
the
be added.
cross shaped.
Yeah. All right then. Thanks.
Thank you. All right. So yeah, generally this will be a on average buff to all. This change will be tried to be balanced as an overall buff to all railguns. The UN accuracy could be upped to account for its hitting 2 separate blocks. That is something we will consider. Yeah, that is something else, Tex, to keep in mind. So, like I said, these will need to be tested out. This is just a demo for the mechanics. Ideally, with y'all's help on Caddis and, again, the upcoming event that I was talking about. For heavy rail hunting, the foe hammer will likely be the best choice. Are Torps getting any new ideas or reworks? Okay, so I'm glad you asked. That leads into the next thing I would like to show you. So, first thing I'd like to show you on torpedoes is, I don't know how many of y'all are aware of this, but current torpedoes work by launching a projectile. That projectile reaches end of life a short distance from your ship, and a fragment comes out, and that's the real torpedo that goes down, chases your enemy. This is potentially part of the reason for Ghost Torps. We don't have a concrete reason laid down, but this is something that can cause that. So, with the proposed changes, or with the changes I'm going to be doing, it's now all one projectile. Then, Corsair, I don't know if you were here with the limits discussion earlier, but we will be applying hard limits at 16 and 8 per type. Yes, pretty much exactly what Veneer said. So with shredding internals, we can balance that to where it damages below functional and doesn't kill as quickly with cutoffs, as well as we have a plugin that auto deletes fragments inside the ship. This is why, like, if your gyros get cut free inside your ship doesn't disintegrate instantly. And so another thing we can do with torpedoes is we can make it so that another idea that we've been kicking around is a decrease in range to, let's say, 15 or 14 kilometers, while giving every torpedo the capability of catching up at that range to a grid that is fleeing. So grid flying 500 meters per second away from you, the torp can reach that 14 kilometers. Yes, the limit is on the launchers. This would be accomplished because with approaches, what we can do is the moment a torp gets further than X distance from the launching grid, it snaps out of existence if I set it up properly. PDC rounds are probably not going to get cut off, as that's not very performant either, because it's more calculations per second and with the sheer number of PDCs. How are the stats being changed to meet the limit? Can you clarify that? Stat change we are probably going to do is increasing the firing time of Ares, so you'll have more time in between each torp leaving the barrel of an Ares launcher. This will make it a bit better for overheat, a bit worse for alpha. There is one last thing on the torpedoes I'd like to show y'all when y'all are ready. Are torps getting damage changes or effectiveness changes? Not at the moment, no. There will be, as I'm about to show you the Artemis demo here in a moment. So difficulty to use on fixed rails, I believe I can fix that with a velocity increase. Last time it was brought up, though, it was kind of agreed upon that their damage to PCU ratio made up for this. Torp getting effectiveness or damage changes. Normal torps are not the ones. I'm going to go ahead and do the Artemis demo now. So, a couple things. Firstly, you may notice that didn't explode. These do kinetic damage. It's similar to a rail shot, but more front-loaded, so it's a more shallow but damaging kinetic hole than what the railguns are doing on this test mod. Slow down a little bit so you can see dug into the battery well. Also, the terminal maneuvering, if anyone noticed. So, essentially, yeah, the released projectile is still targetable in the demo. Thank you, Archer. Yeah, no, I spent a little bit of time learning a lot of weapon core stuff. So, E-War would affect these at range, essentially. Basically, E-War and coils are a very good way to take these out, as it gets them before they stage. Will static rails be getting a range increase? Not at this time, for the reason of it would allow for a similar type of indefinite kiting that torps do right now. Yes, essentially, that's how it works, Johnny. Yes, Shatuka, along with the firing time increase, we're probably going to decrease the reload time so that it has roughly the same firing cycle overall. Yeah, we're doing a lot of weapon diversification stuff. That's part of my motivation for a lot of this is weapon diversification. We would like to keep with Expanse themes, but also give y'all some more toys to play with. Nukes to kinetic missiles. We don't intend to be adding nukes on the short term, but that will be part of the long-term project, like Lilith said. The kinetic torps right now are just using inner torp ammo, but we will likely be giving them their own ammo type that doesn't explode to make it more attractive to be used on cruisers. The overall intent of these is to give cruisers a chase torp. Essentially, you shoot it at something you're chasing, and it hopefully slows it down enough that you can catch up and close into rail range with it to kill it. Comical, as far as the long-term project at start, and for the other people that weren't here, we do have a long-term project where we're looking at implementing a lot of more systems into the Expanse experience. No Pinecone. We're not doing the Kazabar howitzer, sadly. That thing scares me. Can we get nukes? I mean, I can give y'all nukes. No, Mr. Smile. I'm not going to comment too much on any future systems like that, but no, we will not. We'll have more than 2 types of torps. Yeah, other torpedo tubes are probably going to be left more or less the same for the first iteration of this. We can apply the similar chase mechanic that I was talking about earlier, where they can 100% reach their max range if it becomes a needed thing. But for starting, I would like these to be the main ones that have it. And Artemis will have a lower limit than other torpedo tube types to account for this torpedo type. Overall, we're trying to gear the Artemis to be a cruiser torpedo launcher, to where you use it in addition to railguns, rather than the other torpedo launchers that are more meant to be used on torpedo ships. As the Artemis didn't really have a niche before this. Is it possible to make ships in the future bigger than they are now? Not really. We already have lag issues, as you can kind of see with the big battles. So, not particularly. Lilith would be able to speak to that a little bit more.
I mean, you
Sitting
already
used-
hit it on the nail, basically. We already have issues with lags during battles. We don't really want to have even more of that.
Wait, that's an issue? I thought that's a feature. You want me to make Adro NPCs even beefier? Beefier Adro NPCs would be interesting. Yeah. And I know a lot of people got here while I was showcasing some of the weapons. I'm going to cut that stream now, by the way. My PC's frying. So the way we'll be testing these weapons is, in addition to putting them on Caddis, we'll be running an event
Mellows, those
Yes.
are using the new approaches. They're not using our old system, so they should actually be far less suspectable, hopefully, towards ghost torps.
Yes, these are going to be one-phase torps. They don't stage at all with fragments. They stage with approaches, which uses the same projectile, which doesn't reset, doesn't clear it from weapon core. I'm not entirely sure the exact mechanics of why it causes the weapon core target list to have issues, but it is something that helps. And all torpedoes will be getting that change. So you may notice a little bit difference in launching because I'll probably slow down their launch a little bit with that, as we don't need to get them to clear the ship as quickly. Am I concerned with how quickly PDC brawls can end fights? It hasn't really been an issue that's come up as much lately, but it is something we have thought about. So the quicker overheat on PDCs would affect that, though, too. I think I missed a question. Did I? Nope. Oh, yeah, no, I was going to go over the event. So for the testing of this, we're also going to be, in addition to Caddis, we're going to be running an admin event where you basically get rolled for random teams mixed between staff and non-staff, and you fight 3v3, 4v4 on our event server. There will be rewards, and you get your ship spawned in on the event server for free. No risk. You can get rewards. It's a good time. We'll be getting the official plan, or the more detailed plan for that set up later, and the sign up. There are some plans to adjust PDC Archer that I was talking about earlier, with possibly increasing their hit rate at the cost of more overheat, but that's not concrete at the moment. That's something that if it gives us favorable results in testing, we can stick with, but it's definitely not something I'm ride or die on. Actually, another torpedo change that was talked about is increasing. I would like to buff shotguns, actually. Mellows brings up a good point. I think shotguns do need a little bit of help. I'm not entirely sure how we want to do that, though, so that may be left for a later date. But another thing we've been talking about, possibly just kind of an idea up in the air, would be increasing torpedo performance within 10, 9, 8 kilometers to give torpedo boats a reason to close in. But that's neither here nor there at the moment either. You got Lilith in here bringing back some PTSD memories for Tex.
Of course, it's my job.
Yeah, I could do that, Shatuka. Actually, that would be a good idea.
I mean, don't shotguns already turn instantly with how weapon core works?
They do turn pretty much instantly, so it'd be more spread or projectile size. It probably won't lead to decrease. We're not going to be limiting PDC numbers, so that's more up to y'all. If y'all decide that the more or the PDC changes or overall changes lead that you don't feel like you need as many PDCs, that's y'all's call. But given what we've seen in the past, I don't think y'all will. It was only 2 torpedo boats, Tex. Use a gun. If that don't work. Coils. Yeah, that would help with coils.
Also keep in mind, coils will have the ammo adjusted to be a bit cheaper.
Oh, actually, yes, I forgot to talk about that. So all rail guns are going to have their ammo adjusted to be a little bit cheaper. We're removing the platinum cost from them. So 100 mil, 80 mil, 120 mil, all sabos are going to have their plat cost removed. Yep, rails and coils. That was a good catch. I kind of forgot about that. Hope no one had their 401k in plat. Well, we can increase the plat and torps to balance it out.
You know what it means.
Mavlight came here for finance today.
Also, you
yes.
should probably disassemble your coil ammo then, right?
God. Yeah, I was originally going to keep that kind of secret, but it's all right. In their own nation spaces, or are you planning on dropping a Donjon series? I assume he meant own nation spaces, but dropping a Donjon series would be monumentally funny. Air filter inspection. But yeah, no, buffing the nation NPCs. So I'm gonna respond to Mavlight here. 100%, I think the aggro modifications to the NPCs would be a good idea. All right. I can answer questions in chat, Archer, if you would like to talk about the upcoming event you've been working on a little bit.
I'm running my hand for this one. I've been getting ready for this the whole meeting. So, outside of my bug fixes, I have been brainstorming. Now, as you can probably have seen in Dig's discussion recently, there was an event thread asking what you liked and what you hated. Now, I've been reading through this, and there was a lot to read through. I also looked at the Fight Club and all the previous messages from the old coughs. I've looked in the Nation Discords I'm in and all their event feedback. And I've just been asking people randomly when I'm in a channel. So I have a lot of feedback from events. So, there will be more bug fixes, Jason. It's just, I'm working on something cool. So, I am going to start a campaign of events. So more than just one. There's going to be a multitude happening. It should be starting somewhere in the next week. I've just got to do a bit more typing. But it's going to be fun. I've been playing around with as many funny features as I can in my creative world for the last 10 days. It's been fucking hilarious. I looked at Railgun PDCs just for the fucking funnies, and that shit was funny. But I've been playing around. I've been tooling with the plugins. I've been finding everything. Like, what the fuck am I doing with my hands? But I've been playing around, and we're going to be seeing some cool new events coming. I've got a full plan set up. I've been keeping even hidden from some of the staff, so even the staff can play in and have a lot of fun with the new kind of stories that are coming up. I'm going to try to avoid suit-based King of the Hills because we've just done so much of that. But we will be having fights, and you will be flying with ships. We will be going to new locations. This is going to be fun. I think that's all I can say without spoiling too much.
All right. Thank you, Archer. I'm sure y'all are looking forward to that. So that's likely the schedule for that will be we have the kind of not dueling, but arena style event, and then that will kick off a bit after that. Or the campaign of events will kick off a bit after that. That's all we have for y'all. Do y'all have any further questions? Protogen gyroscope win. We are looking at adding that as part of a future update. Yeah, econ update. Coils aren't really useful right now with the huge E-War buffs. So we're going to lower the cost of coils with removing the plat, and we're going to see where that leaves them. I am open to either nerfing E-War slightly or buffing coils a little bit. One thing I have thought about doing with E-War is giving it a small power cost to reload so that you can't spam quite as many out at a time, but I'd have to basically see where torpedoes are after this update. So that would probably be a kind of week or so post-launch patch I'd add in, or if we see something major in testing. PDCs should be effective torp defense with this. Multi-layered defense, come on. But no, really, with these changes, PDCs should be pretty effective again as torp defense. Keep in mind, this is nearly halving the total number of torps coming out of some grids. Yeah, it caught the flu. It's kind of been down the dumps recently. Lilith can share more information as our local doctor.
Someone had fun with an asteroid, which caused it to corrupt. So I needed to roll back one of the asteroids to have it start up again. So I don't know what you guys are doing with your asteroids, but please stop.
Please use protection whenever you're interacting with your asteroids. Pretty sure I can say that here. If you find a belter, can you keep him? That is completely between you and the OPA. If I make a Sneck plush that's carrying a ton of... If you make the model, I'm down. Yeah, Yeah, no. If you make the model and it's up to if that's up to stuff, I'm down. We'll throw it in Medina. Will there be custom skins for suits? Okay. Custom skins for suits are a technical challenge. Cosmo, would you mind if I pull you up here to talk about that? Because you know way more about that than I do. Cosmo here? Yeah, there
What was the question?
we go. Questions about custom suit skins.
My connection's a little iffy right now, so sorry if I like drop for a second.
Oh, good.
TLDR, they're very hard. You have to rig the mesh to basically a skeleton. And it's not a skill I have personally taken the time to learn yet. And on top of that, biological stuff in general is a different type of modeling than I typically do when I'm making the blocks for DX. And it's also a type of modeling that I haven't really learned. Suits is basically one of the most advanced things you can try to do with this game, and there's only a handful of people in the entire community with the knowledge on how to do it and the skill set. It's something we would definitely like to get into at some point, but at the moment, I need more learning and training, and so do the other artists.
All right.
Was that
I think
satisfactory?
that's good for me. If they don't have any other further questions, I think it's all good. Thank you very much.
No problem.
As always, your work here is very much appreciated. The new blocks are really great, and everyone should go check them out and rebuild their stations with them, please.
Send me screenshots. I want to see what you guys built.
Tags from what I have seen from the mod that we currently have for that, it still needs a bit of work to be even viable to be used.
Yeah, there's still some work that needs to be done on the passengers. The items are in game, though. If you go in the creative world, they're there. Can we talk about the OPA static rail for a sec? Sure. The Zaco? Or the Johnson?
That was not static, Fish.
Zaco is static.
No,
Yeah, it is.
no. Buddy? I'm sorry, it's
There's
easy
two
to...
Zacos. There's a mounted
What?
non-Zaco. Yeah. For some reason, the tracking is a bit off. So the tracking with the all of the gimbaled static rails, actually, I'm pretty sure, based on our testing, it has to do with the difference in projectile velocity whenever you're going into the different stages. So you get a little bit of a delay. And that's what's causing it. I'm relatively certain it could probably be fixed with a velocity upgrade, but I did cover earlier that last time this was brought up in the community, it was agreed upon that the damage to PCU ratio kind of helped mitigate that. If not, we can work on making them more consistent, but that would likely come with a damage decrease, at least somewhat. It's up to y'all, what y'all would prefer other ways, or if you think, let me know if you think that they'd be fine being more consistent, as well as having their same damage right now. What is with the Kopesh railgun? There's no plans to add the Kopesh at the moment. I have
we
the
do have the model for the Corbash, but currently the issue is introducing new weapons would be a pain to balance again right now. Considering that we currently are trying to fix balance in the first place.
Can we have PDC railguns with 5-kilometer range? No, but we might add them to the game.
Now, what about the new updated drive plume visuals? Technically, it's a small change to include them, but it is also not really high on the priority list right now. We have simply more important stuff right now to do.
Yeah.
Like, in the end of the day, the current plumes work, so it's not a high priority thing.
So I will go back and retest the stuff with the gimbal. There might have been something I missed, but I am relatively certain it's a projectile speed issue. I can also fix that if y'all would like. But again, last time it got brought up, it was kind of brought up as a balancing measure for them. So the damage isn't fair. All right, we're running a bit long here, so we're gonna kind of try to start wrapping up. So if you have any last questions, get those in now, please.
It would be funny if you unleashed the hell now on us.
Just 100 questions come in right now.
Come on, before they write, you need to promise now that you're gonna answer all of them.
Well, I've answered everything that's come in. Small grid PDC. It's been considered. Well, torp launchers have PCU decrease since they're limited. We're going to see how they play out, but yes, that is very much on the table. Mass decrease is also very much on the table. To be clear, they can work.
Johnny, what's broken with this mayor?
Oh, yeah, what is broken on the Zmaya?
Everything is not a good answer.
It likes to drift off into the distance. Yeah, so that might be because there's a big hydrogen tank in the middle of where its thruster conveyors go.
God damn it, fish.
That might be my fault. Yeah, no, if that's becoming an issue, we can definitely fix that though. The rail also despawns. That is, I believe we fixed that. Did we not, Lilith?
No, I didn't yet. That has been on my to-do list.
That is a known issue. We have not gotten around to it though at the moment, so we apologize for that. Please, no.
Mefla traumatizing the player base yet again.
We're gonna go through and give all of the NPCs the new torpedo we're adding. Everyone panic hunt. You'll act like you don't have massive stockpiles. FPS cap passed. Smokey, what monitor are you running?
Yeah, what monitor do you have that you are capable of viewing 500 frames per second?
So Smokey's not actually using a monitor. I'm pretty sure he's just streaming this directly to his retinas. Okay, calm down. When Hal is telling you to calm down about tech ideas, that's you've gone too far. Another is wild. He okayed these.
Jesus Christ. Hope you're okay, Smokey.
Yeah, Smokey, I really hope you're okay. Yeah, Mavlight's actually been putting in a lot of work to tweaking aggro for sim speed increases. Small grid weapons. So, small grid weapons have been brought up a few more times. We would have to make them very specialized to be balanced and probably limited in one way or another. It's something we'll look into, but there are reasons we haven't done it in the past, and those reasons very well might still apply. It's restart time, isn't it?
Could have been that if a restart has been and there has been some mod updates, then those can take a while.
Oh, yeah. Read when you comment or reply, please. Okay, yeah, sorry, I forgot that the recording was mostly audio. Okay, so that's fine, but some PTC would for the recording, yeah. Not moving was a dumb mistake. Yeah, so it never came back up. Yeah, no, Mellows, the funny shit you think you can do with small grid PDCs is it's what we confirm. It's not what we confirm. It's what we are concerned about. We are all clearly responsible adults. If we were all clearly responsible adults, I would probably be at work right now. There's funny things.
Archer, you need to post a meme now. With the switches. Go.
Oh, yeah, Archer, get the switch meme. Also, do you have the GIF of the railgun PDCs? What, y'all don't have a shared meme folder? All right, this is pretty much winding down, so I guess we'll go ahead and wrap it up now. Feel free to ping me in DX discussions if you have any further questions about stuff we've talked about here, or just balance stuff in general, or in a suggestion thread as well. Please don't ping me in the pit. All right,
No.
that'll be it. Hope you all had a good time, learned some stuff, and got the answers that you wanted. How did I know this was going to happen?
It's going what happened?
I'm getting pinged from the pit.
Oh wait, let me join in. You kind of brought that up on yourself.
Yeah, I did. I really did. Well, thank you. Very glad you appreciate it, Airing. Thank you, Zinc.
Forthcoming, come on.
Forthcoming. That's wild.
You clearly intended it that way. You cannot speak your way out of that.
Not intended in that way, but oh well. You can't really control how your audience reads it.
Anyways, let's wrap it up. But
Yep. All right, I will be vacating then. I'll see y'all around over the next week or so when I'm free. I am somewhat busy with school. I'm going to be trying to hang out in general VC when I can. It'll probably be later American times, unfortunately, for the European folk here. But I'll try to get some European times in as well. And if you want to talk, I'll be there. All right, I'll see y'all.
bye bye.
It's just me. Don't ever get me away. What fucking button would press now?
Who
You know what?
trusted you to do that? Get off.
What do you mean? There's a big red button. I'm really tempted to press it.